put up a whole new line. Good morning, everybody. It is a solo show here at Shea. No, I'm kidding. There he is. He's going to get his aqua. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition and episode of the Chop Sports Daily, coming to you live from the Flipping Made Easy studio right here in Mattawan, New Jersey. It is Sturch. It is Gooch. Nick behind the glass. Madison also back in the building as well, fresh off our trip from Boston. And according to sources, I may or may not be going to LBI with her family. So I've been invited. I'm assuming you can go too if you want.
When is it?
I don't know. End of August? No. What did you say? It was. That's not connected, so don't even worry about it. Just yell it.
I'll be
July. And
29th to like the 9th of August.
No, I'm busy. All right. Anyway, now a lot of things going on, but appreciate the invite.
Which we got to talk about.
Say what now?
I'll talk to you about that after the show. Next, I guess, first week of August, I'll be out.
There goes the neighborhood. Anyway, that's fine. Ratings will be up that week, clearly, because I'm the most wanted and viewed guy on the show. Hope everybody's doing well out there on a, what's today? Wednesday. Lots going on. It's been a morning already. I know we've tried so hard to work this internet issue out, and it just keeps on keeping on and, doing what we could and can and will. So, yes, hope everybody's doing well. We have ourselves a rundown today. Gooch, there's a lot going on, but if you want to support Chop Sports, if you're watching this right now, thank you for one on YouTube. Like the video. That's a solid. Also, go head on over to Patreon. If you want to contribute monthly, you can do that. Patreon.com/ You can go back to the Patreon.com/ Say it one more time for Nick. Patreon.com/ Chop Sports. You can head on over there. $3, $5, $10 variety. And we appreciate everybody who's contributed a nickel to this business. Helps us out tremendously as we gear up for a whole new fresh start coming in September. A lot of cool shit happening over here. So, Gooch, I'm going to throw it to you. A lot went on last night. Today, as a matter of fact, it's that doom and gloom day of sports. There are zilch major sports happening tonight, also, except for the ESPYs that nobody's going to watch because Steph Curry is hosting.
What went on yesterday?
You missed the AllStar game.
No, I didn't miss the AllStar. I mean, I did, but I knew the AllStar game happened. But that doesn't count. That doesn't equate to something happening yesterday. Sports was dead, but we do have a little bit of like page 6 kind of shit for the rundown today.
Page 6, good reference to the post.
Means, right? Yeah, good.
Yeah,
so
come on,
page 6 in baseball. So there's some jet setters, or not for that matter. Paul Blackburn was flown to the All-Star game. So I say Paul Blackburn, he's the starting pitcher for the Oakland Athletics, Dave. The Oakland A's. And Oakland, we know that they're the cheapest franchise in baseball. They won't do anything with their stadium. There's just a debacle over there. And they did not fly Paul Blackburn. I guess, what's the flight? Like a minute away? I mean,
you could have
drove, but they did not fly Paul Blackburn to the All-Star game, and he hopped on a flight with the Astros team. I find that to be really strange because they're interdivision rivals. And speaking of Jets, and I'm not going to the New York Jets, don't worry. Juan Soto, on the heels of not accepting that 15-year mega offer, the Nationals were like, all right, bro, you don't want to accept that deal? Well, fuck you. You got to fucking fly coach. My heart really bleeds for the millionaire that had to fly coach, and shout out to the Astros for a billionaire owner helping out another millionaire. My heart really broke for Paul Blackburn when I found out.
God forbid you got to fly commercial.
And keeping it in the likes of page 6, there was a thing that I saw on Instagram the other day, and it was tracking Floyd Mayweather's private jets. Right.
So it's like a shark.
So there's a website where you could track.
There's a Mayweather right over there.
And they were going into like the Kylie Jenner flight activity and Floyd Mayweather specifically.
This is a thing?
Yeah. And these people are talking about Floyd Mayweather takes a 20-minute plane ride somewhere, right? Whereas if he would have just drove to the place, he would have gotten there faster than going to the airport. Like, it's literally closer to the airport, and Floyd Mayweather still takes his jet. So anyway, off of the jet news,
all the money in the
moving
world.
On over into the NFL. And Jimmy Garoppolo is on track in his rehab, and he's set to be returned mid-August. And the 49ers are thrilled with his progress. So the 49ers must be thrilled because they have to be looking to trade him and get him on the field so they could showcase him for other teams, i.e. the Cleveland Browns.
What?
Yes.
So where'd you get that?
What other team needs a quarterback right now, potentially?
You think the Browns
Seattle.
need a
I saw
quarterback?
the only reports that I've seen over the past 2 weeks with Jimmy G's name attached to it was Cleveland. Do you think San Fran's going to deal him to Seattle? Because that would be the only other team that I could think of.
If you get the right haul, I'm tired of this whole you can't dish guys interdivision. If you get the right haul, you do it. Like if Seattle's willing to just give you picks or give you whatever, then you do it. You do it. Like, what are you going to? Oh man, Seattle's going to be a thorn in our side with Jimmy G. If you're willing to trade Jimmy G, then why is the fucking?
What is Seattle really going to give up? So
I mean,
to
they
me,
have to have some kind of draft
I'm not giving up. I'm not
road.
giving up a potential starting quarterback to a team that's in my division for a 3rd round pick. I'm not doing it. I give them up to somebody else for a 5th.
What if they get what if Seattle ponies up and goes 2?
And Jimmy G's probably not going to even warrant a 3rd.
All I'm saying is
there's no market.
It just seems like this is trending. This is not good news for Jimmy G and his camp. It's just not. For the 49ers to say like, "Oh, we're so thrilled." Like, no, this is bad news because you're not going to be ready for another month and a half.
I mean, to me, it's not really news at all, or good or bad for Jimmy G's camp, because the best quarterback or the best job in pro sports is backup quarterback. And he's a very, very expensive one at that. I agree. He doesn't want to be. But if the NFL is a dangerous sport, anybody that played football their whole life knows that, right? I'm sure Jimmy G played football his whole life, so he's aware of the inherent risk. Jimmy G going there and being paid $25 million to back up a guy that clearly needs some seasoning in Trey Lance. I think there's an opportunity for him to see the field in San Fran regardless. And Seattle, I just don't think is a destination. Cleveland is the only team with the Deshaun Watson news still looming, or the ruling still looming, that I could see him going to.
I mean, just to piggyback off the Watson stuff, I think that there's something's going to happen within the next couple of days. And from the now closest source to the situation, which is Mike Florio, apparently, because he's in with the lawyers. And again, Mike Florio to me is another hackadoodle-doo. But according to what he's read, somebody's obtained some stuff, and all of a sudden, it looks like it could be anywhere from 2 to 8, which I think people will completely throw a goddamn riot over, or 8, which I feel like that's right around justified. Like, if you suspend the guy for the whole year, at this point, with no actual convictions or legal shit, then
if they're going to suspend him for 2 games,
he's still a piece of shit.
If they're going to suspend him for 2 games, I feel like that would just be saving face and having to suspend him at all. If it's a 2-game suspension, then it looks to me like they probably shouldn't suspend him at all.
Well,
and what's the point? But we're talking about how egregious this is.
Like you say,
nothing.
You say, what's the point? I say, I raise you the fact that they suspended Brady 4 games for deflating footballs. This guy's groping women. You know what I mean? So this is a very, very sticky situation for the NFL to be in, and they're dropping this ball completely.
One thing has zero to do with the other, though, because in the Brady case, it's really like it's cheating. You know,
Ben Roethlisberger went from 6 to 4. Like, he actually got that down after all the shit he went through. Zeke Elliott got 6, and he didn't do anything. Or at least not convicted of doing it.
Greg Hardy got his.
Greg Hardy. And again, I don't condone any of that shit, but Greg Hardy was suspended for 10 games, got that down to 4, I believe, when he joined the Cowboys.
I think that when you're looking at the Greg Hardy case, it's a lot more damning evidence, like factual shit that went down with the Greg Hardy shit. When you read the police report and you see the pictures, that was brutal, right? Deshaun Watson is a lot of hearsay, and there's a lot of really, really shady people on the other side of it. And that's what's coming out. And I don't know the details, but because it's taken so long and it went from 2 years to maybe never again to now 2 to 8 games, it seems like the NFL is scrambling to find something to find that's worth suspending him for 8 games.
I have a question for you. Heard on the Pat McAfee show, friend of the show, Pat McAfee. Do you think that any suspension at this point is a result in the judge thinking he's guilty of something? Meaning, like, now the judge it's in the NFL's judgment now. Now, like, obviously he's not in the Supreme Courts or anything like that. He's not going to jail. This is now just an NFL ruling. If somebody, the judge, and I don't remember her name, it's passing me by, but if the judge rules that there is a suspension warranted, do you think that means that's an admission to guilt?
No.
So now you just think because he's a pain in the ass to the league, there's a suspension looming.
Yeah, or the NFL having to save face. What are they going to have?
Conduct to the league is what I'm saying.
He sat out a whole season last year.
He didn't sit out.
I mean, point being is he was told to sit out. So that's like a suspension without being suspended while getting paid. So he did miss a season.
Correct.
Already. right? So,
but not. I don't want to go back down that rabbit hole. But
did he or did he not miss an entire season of?
He did not play a football season because the Houston Texans decided not to play him. That's the rule.
But
that's what happened.
And it was like,
I get.
I'm Roger Goodell, you're the Texans, and it's like, yo, you ain't playing that motherfucker. Did you hear that? I said you're not playing that MFer.
Yeah, I just again, so
7 minutes. We make
no, you blew it in the open.
Oh, we're clear.
That's why I kind of looked at you. I was like, mother. Like, but anyway, doesn't matter. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't even know if that's a real rule or not. It depends. I got that from Dave and Jay, who like tried very hard not to curse.
I'm the one that said it to them.
And you know, it's funny. Anyway, Ray from Optimum said, "I checked out your show," and I'm like, "Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate it." He goes, "You guys curse way too much."
Oh, he'll
like,
be all right.
Great.
Anyway, Ray, send your guy. Enough is enough. Thanks, buddy. Back to the rundown, though.
Sorry.
So, Netflix is releasing a documentary. Hopefully, more people see this documentary than they have seen Manti Te'o's girlfriend, because they're releasing a documentary on the Manti Te'o situation, and the poor guy just can't catch a break. Like, it's been 10 years. Let this thing.
But doesn't he have to sign off on this? No. When somebody makes a documentary of you and they're making money off your NIL, don't they have to talk to you about it first?
Absolutely not.
Really?
Yeah. Do you think the guy do you think Ja Rule made money off the Fire documentary?
Ja Rule, baby.
Do you think, like,
oh my God, that was the greatest documentary I've ever watched.
Whoever you think, like John.
That's
Wayne,
right. All right, you're right. Because there's a bunch of Trump things out there and Biden documentaries and all the other shit. I'm sure they didn't go to like Joe Biden, like, hey, can you do this? I'm like, I don't know what day
and
it
the poor guy just can't catch a break because it's been 10 years and he's still like the laughing stock of that whole catfish world.
That sucks.
Unbelievable story.
Do you remember the Te'oing? You know how there was Bradying and Te'oing was just like sitting there with
posing with
nobody there,
empty person.
I thought the whole documentary thing was fake because I was like, are they really making a documentary about it?
This is gonna be great.
It's gonna be on MTV too.
I'm
first.
100% watching it.
It's on Netflix. But Madden ratings, the inside or the linebackers came out, and there's a couple things that we need to clarify. One thing we need to clarify from yesterday's show, and then I'll just talk about the egregious rating that Darius Leonard, is that his name?
Yeah.
Yes, Darius Leonard.
We'll be talking about the Colts today, so that works out nice.
So Jamar Chase, we were talking about him being a 90, and that was too low. Then we were like, oh, no, I'm pretty sure it's 87, and then we agreed that was too low. And then we come to find out that he was rated an 84. Oof. Like, Jamar Chase is top 5 receiver, top 7, no questions asked, top 7, arguably top 5, arguably top 4 or 3 now, and he's an 84 overall. Come on, bro. We got Tyler Lockett's like a 90.
No, he's not. Tyler Lockett is a 90?
Yeah.
DK Metcalf more than that?
No.
Because he's really? Madden, what are you doing, guys?
Maybe DK is more.
EA, what are we doing?
EA sucks at rating players.
I mean, like, again, I told you yesterday, that's somebody's job. So, like, I don't want to tell you anybody, but you're bad at your job.
And bro, and Darius Leonard being
if that's your one job,
I don't know what
like,
Leonard
you're doing
was
it wrong.
ranked or rated, but he was the 5th linebacker, and he's arguably outside of Aaron Donald.
Wait, Leonard was the 5th linebacker?
Yeah, he's the best. He's
the best linebacker in football.
He might be the best defensive player in football right now.
Overall, yeah.
Like, he could be. It's like the
you would think that you can make a case for Leonard to be in the 99 club. No bullshit.
100%. And if there's one guy that I would pick in the league to add to the Packers roster, it might be him. He's such a game changer, and he forces a fumble every game.
Do you want me to? I have the top 10 linebackers.
Yeah, please.
All right. So number 1 is Fred Warner at a 94 overall.
He's really good.
He's very good. Yeah.
Number 2, Demario Davis, 93 overall. 3, Levante David, 92 overall. 4, Bobby Wagner, 91 overall. Number 5 is Darius Leonard with a 90 overall. Number 6, Roquan Smith. 89.
Bring on my boy. Go ahead.
Number 7, Micah Parsons, 88 overall.
88. I'm liking it.
Number 8, Eric Kendricks, 88 overall. Number 9, Devondre Campbell, 87 overall. And number 10,
he's good
Devin
at football.
White, 85 overall.
Still egregiously low for the
Jim Eagle coming in. Thank you for watching the show. Like the video. He's coming in. Linebackers are obsolete position in today's league. Obsolete.
See, I don't agree with that.
I
do
think it's
understand
the other way around.
Inside linebacker is, but when there's a new breed of linebacker where they're able to play all over the field, and that includes safety, middle linebacker, and then these guys, some of them are like edge rushers as well. I mean, Micah Parsons is a different kind of player, so you can't really use him as the comparison, but there's just a lot of hybrid safeties that could come down and play the run well and also cover, like slot corner linebackers. It's a very weird league right now. So to a degree, yes, the position as far as middle linebacker and like that 4-3 base middle linebacker, the Ray Lewis type where he's going to go sideline to sideline, that is going away. But the teams that run the 3-4 still use 2 middle linebackers. Right?
Correct.
And this guy right here, he's the best one in football.
I
And it's
agree.
not a debate.
I think that these new type of linebackers, though, is a little bit better because, you know, instead of it being like sideline to sideline, they are all over the field, which it helps you out a little bit more because now you're also seeing too, they're able to snag some of these balls thrown in the air that it's just sometimes
Snag 'em,
sometimes
Snagging
the tips,
balls.
but
Yeah, no,
sometimes
you're
they
right.
make
No,
great
listen.
interceptions, and you're just like, that's very impressive.
You know what it
because
is?
you're
And
used to not
it's
seeing
the
it from that
evolution of the
position.
athlete.
Yeah.
You know, when you're growing up, like it's just like, yeah, I want to play defense. I want to play D line. No. You're going to step back and you're going to get agile too.
The size of these guys are the ones that are able to line up against tight ends and being able to cover. It's a new league now. It's not just run the ball, the power I formation. Obviously, that's been gone for the last 20, 25 years. So the league's changing accordingly. There's just going to be more guys that are able to cover.
Agreed. What else you got in the rundown?
I have Nate Diaz finally verbally agreed to a fight. And I say he finally agreed. He finally got a fight. And it's not signed yet, so don't hold your breath because
almost
you
there.
might die.
Almost
because until Nate actually weighs in and makes the walk, you never know with him. But Nate Diaz against Khamzat Chimaev in what I think is probably one of the worst decisions for Nate Diaz in his entire UFC career.
Not a good
But
idea.
you know, he wants out of this contract. And I do have some things to piggyback off of this because we're going to let this bleed into a little bit of the first topic. The rundown is now over. And we are now talking about Nate Diaz.
The rundown would have
Khamzat.
happened, but the internet issues allowed me to not use Artie today. So you would have
Yes.
seen all these beautiful bullet points. So we apologize for that.
So Nate Diaz has been clamoring for a fight for a while. Dana White has been saying he's offered Nate fights for a while, and they just haven't come to terms with it. The whole situation is with the UFC has to offer you 3 fights a year for them to hold their end of the contract. You have to either accept or not, but if you don't accept, you don't get counted towards your fights, right? So if you sign a 6-fight deal, you could, as long as they offer
gotta fight
3
6 times.
fights, exactly.
You gotta get in the
fight
cage 6 times.
They have to offer you 3 a year. If you take none, you could be on a contract forever. Right?
So there's no actual length of like terms. There's fight terms.
What
Yes.
Nate was been trying to do is Nate had a couple guys lined up that he would like to have fought, maybe a Dustin Poirier, a few money fights that's been in the making for pretty much his entire career. And then along comes Khamzat, this up-and-coming killer who's hungry, is trying to make a name for himself, hasn't really beaten many name opponents yet until recent where he beat Gilbert Burns. But again, classic case of Dana White trying to throw Nate Diaz into a situation where he's got all the name value and he's going to build another star for the UFC. Khamzat beats Nate Diaz. He'll be like the 13th fighter off a Nate Diaz win to get a title shot. Now, Dana White in the press all week was talking about, come on, Nate Diaz is 1-6 in his last 7. You know, he's not even a draw.
Is he
He's making
really?
yeah, he is.
Wow.
But Nate Diaz, look at all the guys that he's fought in the 6 of his last 7.
They're big
They've
fighters.
all been main events, pay-per-views. He's fighting the best guys in the world, and those guys are moving on to fight for the belt almost directly after the Nate Diaz fight.
So he's a nice little stepping stone.
Most notably
for
of
everybody.
recent, Leon Edwards is now fighting Usman. Who did he just beat? Nate.
Right.
So
Interesting.
Dana White has a problem where same deal with Francis Ngannou, where when you have 1 fight left on your deal, they don't offer you a fight until you re-up your contract. So they play this game where they offer you a bunch of fights. You know, you're not
They
going to
just
take.
dangle it. They
You're
just
dangling it.
dangle right
And
over, yeah.
eventually Nate was like, I don't give a fuck. I want out of this contract so bad. I'll fight anybody. So then Dana was like, okay, I'm going to give you the guy that you turned down 3 times. And now Nate's got to go get the shit beat out of him for fucking 25 minutes.
He'd be lucky if he gets through a fight with this guy. to be
Nate Diaz
honest.
has only been finished once.
I understand. I just
or maybe
again,
twice, but once in the UFC, and that was from like 12 head kicks in a row from Josh Thompson. But Khamzat is the minus 1150 favorite, and if you want to just throw a prayer on Nate, you could throw $1 and win 70. No, it's plus 750. So
that's Jesus Christ.
it's
man.
not. It means Nate has no chance.
According to
whatsoever.
Vegas.
No.
Everybody's got a puncher's chance. Anybody with 2 hands.
A
has
volume
chance.
puncher like Nate without the power isn't going to knock out Khamzat, and I don't think that his jiu-jitsu is good, but his wrestling isn't. So he's not going to really be able to grapple.
Got a new nickname for Nate Diaz, the Nate Keeper, because he's the
All
gatekeeper.
right, settle down.
In case he might not be a Nate fan. I like Nate. I think he draws
Settle
money,
down.
and UFC is all about that money.
Nate
So
Diaz
like,
is the GOAT, is the real GOAT.
I mean, no, he's
He's
not.
not, but he, in some ways, he really is. And like
When
I'm
it
not
comes
saying
to
he beat up every
promotion
fighter,
and
but
fighting and
the
all this
Diaz
other
brothers
shit,
did a
yes.
lot for the sport that nobody realizes.
I agree
They're
wholeheartedly.
the only champions ever that are getting pay-per-view points, or they're the first ones. So
Interesting.
you know,
All right.
getting everybody paid.
Moving on to the All-Star game. I know we have a graphic for that at the very least. The All-Star game yesterday, I don't know if anybody watched it, but our boy Giancarlo Stanton wins the MVP. He crushed the shit out of a ball in which now, if you look at the replay and everything that people have been tweeting out, Gooch, are they real baseballs?
No, I actually should have fucking loaded the graphic. Sorry, YouTube.
Made that ball look like it was
that
Jell-O.
ball.
It looked like one of
was
those. What are they
murdered.
called? Incrediballs that you used to play with it at,
Like a rubber
gym
ball?
class, like one of those rubber balls that you would play with in Little League.
I mean, we've seen Stanton crush balls, but this one looked like it got dented.
Bro, it's a wood
when he
bat
hit it.
hitting a baseball. The ball halfway disappeared. It literally. So I don't even know. I mean, when I'm playing the softballs, the blue dots, they're the balls that are juiced. I don't know if you know what the difference. But
Blue dot?
the blue dot,
Yeah.
it's not a softer ball. So I don't understand. I feel like when you soften the ball, it goes less. The harder the baseball, the more it's going to go. I mean, maybe I could be wrong unless they put rubber in it.
That's science.
But I don't know. I'm not a scientist.
You just play one on TV.
Well,
But I
know a little bit about everything, but I know a lot about nothing. And this is something that I don't even know a little bit about.
So Stanton wins the MVP. Great game. But I have to say, the greatest thing, and I said this as I walked in today, the greatest thing that I heard or saw and heard on this All-Star game was the fact that they mic'd up some of the players literally mid-game. Now, it's one thing to do like Stanton and Judge, who are just chilling out in the outfield, doing nothing until the ball's hit, and they're just kind of bullshitting, right? Bro, to mic up the pitchers before they delivered balls was so much fun to watch. Manoah of the Blue Jays was on the mound, and I was captivated. I was hanging on every word because not only did he peel back the curtain of what they potentially really on every pitch, you heard the grunting of every throw, which was great. But like overall, like sitting there, like when his the glove is over his hand. He's like, talking to his guy. He's like, what are we doing here? Slider? All right, slider sounds about right. And then before he throws the slider. Then you got guys, the broadcast is in his ear, and they're asking him, like, what should we throw here? He's like, I think Smoltz was on the broadcast, and he's like, yeah, throw a slider outside, make him chase. All right, sounds about right. And he line up and throw the ball. Mic up the pitchers forever. I think that is fantastic. But Gooch, to your point earlier when we were talking, you can't do that in real time because if you got a guy like Max Scherzer on the mound, who's just like motherfucking piece of shit, motherfucker. And
in general, the nature of the sport with the sign stealing and like, I don't know that pitchers would ever want their conversations with their catcher or their managers in real life on the mound going out there because just the other teams. Like there's some shady shit going on.
Well, like you said, that there's a possibility that they can like record stuff, edit it in commercial, just like they do in the NFL.
NFL Films does a great job, and they might not even. It doesn't even have to be for the live broadcast, bro. Cut it up for social.
Agreed. But
I think on YouTube.
I think the element of real time was the coolest thing that I've seen because it's like I said, like Trevino was out there as a catcher, and he was catching Cortez. They were talking to each other. Like they were literally like, all right, here it goes.
Do it. They mic up everyone.
Inside, and the ball, he's like, that wasn't inside.
Did you guys watch the celebrity softball game? They mic'd up Bam Bam Baklava, Action Bronson, with his 2 RBI triple.
I mean, I didn't watch the celebrity softball game. But
I mean, that's more interesting to me than the fucking actual All-Star game.
I just think, like I said, in real time, that shit was very, very captivating. And I watched the entire thing, and I'm like, wow, this is pretty damn cool. That like they're deciding which pitches to throw, and like this is just stuff you've never heard before.
It was a cool different aspect because like in the past it's just been a standard baseball game, nothing about it, but it's like it gives you this like different view because like they're just like casually like having conversations out in the outfield with like people and like you get to hear different stuff about how they operate in the middle of games.
Jimmy Palumbo coming in saying, are the catchers that bad in the AL that Trevino was in the All-Star game? Trevino's having a quiet, really good year. But yes, probably the AL catchers are pretty shitty. You guys
think it's like a fun thing that they should do all the time because the fans would like it?
Yes.
Oh, so they're never going to do it.
I meant for the
it's like wrestling.
Like
they should definitely do this storyline because it makes most sense and it's really, really fun, but they'll never do it.
But then the best was Trevino getting that base hit, and then he's like trying to figure out. He's like, maybe I should run, maybe I shouldn't. It was just.
I'm telling you, it was pretty cool. And like I said, you can't do it on a day-to-day because, again, you guys got psychopaths like Max Scherzer on the mound, MFing guys as he's about to throw the ball, which to me, if you put this, if baseball got to broadcast one game on well, they do Amazon, right? So like they do these other streaming services, they should put a hard rating on it for one day. Let that shit, dude, you would love that shit because all you would hear was the chirping.
Yeah, no, it's
chirping.
Not,
that would be great.
It's not about, I would definitely love it, but the players wouldn't. I feel like, or the teams wouldn't. Unless it was like a season later, I don't even know, man. Like I feel like the conversations mic'd up would be just different. Everybody would change. I also hate how
you would have to be careful.
It brings out like the douchey, annoying person in certain people.
Yeah, but Manoah, who I've never seen or heard talk, was like, they're like, "Oh, is this your first time facing this guy?" And he's like, "Yeah, it actually is." Yo, what's up, buddy? Like they've never met before. So like again, the dumbest thing, but the coolest thing, all at the same time. So that's the All-Star game. It comes and goes. Baseball resumes tomorrow. We'll do some second half predictions tomorrow as far as the season goes. Before we get into the Colts and all that like that, first of all, the ESPYs are on tonight. Nobody's going to watch. Steph Curry is, they're going to pump him with some jokes that are just not going to resonate. So I'm sure there's got to be a KD joke around there somewhere, just like Manning delivered, but like this one's going to be worse. I don't know if anybody can watch the ESPYs.
I don't think they would because he's trying to recruit him to come back to.
But again, that's that. If they're boys, then
Steph's
they just do whatever.
Anybody.
They're going to pump him with jokes.
Oh, they're going to give
He's
him
not a
jokes.
funny guy. Not that I know of.
Yeah, how do you know?
Because me and him, we go way back. I don't know. But
you might kill it.
I want to bring up one quick conversation before we get into more football with the Colts and before we get into all the reads. So yesterday I'm driving home and I listened to, I'm a big fan of Don LaGreca, and he does the Daily Don on 1050, the Michael K show. Or 98.7. Now 1050 was AM, by the way. 98.7 FM. So I'm listening. He does the Daily Don. Sometimes he does the top 5, but he makes you guess the top 5 of his list. Yesterday was top 5 quarterbacks that never won a Super Bowl. And for whatever reason, Rosenberg fumbled on everything and didn't mention Dan Marino first, which was like, what are we doing here? But leads me to believe they had a conversation about Dan Fouts being one of the top 5 quarterbacks in NFL history not to win a Super Bowl, right? And Don LaGreca gave a hint to Rosenberg, and he said he's their best quarterback in franchise history. And he said it threw him for a loop because the producer came back on and said, well, I don't agree with that because I think it's Phillip Rivers of the Chargers. So my conversation and question to you and the masses, you can go back to the comments so I can see them. My question to you, Gooch, and the masses, are there, which NFL franchises have a legitimate debate based off of 2 quarterbacks as, quote, the GOAT of quarterbacks in their franchise history? Some don't have a debate. Miami, it's Dan Marino, right? Think about the ones that don't have a debate right off the rip. But then again, they do. But Seattle, Russell Wilson, there's no debate. You can't. Rick Meyer.
But he has a Super Bowl.
No. Now I'm talking about quarterbacks in general. No more Super Bowl talk. I'm talking about teams in the NFL with a debate. Is there a debate between Rodgers and Favre anymore?
No. Warren Moon, Steve McNair, but Warren Moon's a Hall of Famer.
So then Warren Moon is the greatest quarterback of that franchise history. There's not it might be close, but there's no debate. So the Cowboys, I think it's Roger Staubach. There's no debate. You know what I mean? Because you can't say Troy. Some people, it's Troy. He's got all his rings. Doesn't matter. Some people think Troy doesn't belong in the Hall of Fame.
Stop.
So I'm just saying. That's what I'm saying. Roger Dodger is the guy. He's a clear cut. But the Giants, is Eli Manning the greatest quarterback to ever play in New York?
Anybody that would
think so.
Anybody that you would compare to, first of all, I think Kurt Warner was probably better. He's if we're talking realistically, Eli played quarterback in New York, but so did Kurt Warner. Who was better? Kurt Warner. Not for the Giants.
That's what I'm saying.
But he was better.
Yeah.
So
no. As
all
a
those
teammate.
aside, does
But I'm
Favre
saying,
go on the? Could we count Favre for the Vikings because he's better than all of them? Could we count Favre for the Jets?
No. I'm talking about life expectancy. Played for the team their entire way.
Basically,
mostly.
you have to have service time with a franchise.
Here's a debate.
So Matt Ryan, Michael Vick.
That's a really good debate. But I think overall, Matt Ryan won an MVP. So I think Matt Ryan gets the nod, right? I think
I would give it to Matt Ryan in a heartbeat.
Yeah, but Michael Vick, in his prime, Michael Vick was a joystick of cheat code. It wasn't fair.
So, all right, what about the Eagles? Jaworski, McNabb?
McNabb, to me, is probably the best Eagles quarterback ever.
Let me think here.
Oh, what about Randall? No, you don't give.
I'm a big Randall fan, but
Me too.
Donovan McNabb,
And I mean, I hate
I
him,
think
but
he
I like
made
him.
4 straight NFC championships.
I'm trying to think.
Go through the
Chiefs. What
divisions.
about the Chiefs? Mahomes already got it, right? That was really it. Yeah. Why even bring up the Chiefs?
Was it
brought up
Len?
the Chiefs?
Who was their
It was
quarterback?
good.
Len Dawson way back in the day.
Yes, but then I'm
Was
thinking
it Len
like,
Dawson?
yeah, he
Did he
definitely
play-
played for the Chiefs.
I know he played for the Chiefs, but I might be missing the.
But I'm thinking
position.
like Chiefs. Joe Montana, that doesn't count. Like he was there for a cup of coffee. That doesn't
No.
count at all. But there's a
Mahomes.
massive debate. Joe Montana or Steve Young? I think it's Joe.
How about the Raiders? What do we got with the Raiders? Kenny Stabler,
Rich Gannon?
No,
You don't like him?
no, he was. I like Gannon. He's just a journeyman.
Stabler's probably the guy. Stabler's probably the guy over there, I think.
Derek Carr.
Again, if Derek Carr plays another 5 years and he starts lighting the world on fire with Devontae and all these new weapons, then he might move into that conversation of greatest Raider quarterback ever. I think that could be a thing. The Colts, is it Peyton Manning or is it Johnny Unitas? It's Johnny Unitas, right?
No, it's Peyton.
It's Peyton. Peyton's one of the top 5 maybe ever
really,
in
like,
some
no,
debates.
I have no fucking idea. Johnny Unitas like invented playing quarterback. Basically, he's like the Peyton Manning of his time.
Okay.
Excuse me. So I'm gonna put those guys. That's the one tie.
Jaguars, Mark Brunell. There's no debate there. Trevor Lawrence, give him 10. We'll see.
Bro, Blake Bortles, stop.
Oh, yeah.
Stop.
I like Bortles over Brunell. I do. He's the boat after all. Yeah,
I mean,
that makes
Bart
sense.
Starr doesn't get mentioned because of how great Aaron Rodgers is. But you could have the debate with Bart Starr and
Do
Brett
you
Favre.
remember Jimmy almost had a stroke that time? I told him, like, I was like, look at all these franchises with like a long lineage of great quarterbacks. Like, look at the Packers, Starr, Favre, Rodgers. Look at the Cowboys, Staubach, Aikman, Romo. He's like, Romo? Like, you went absolutely nuts. But I'm trying to think, like, do you think there's any other teams with like a clear cut?
I mean, the only person we forgot about with the Giants is Phil Simms.
Oh,
Yeah, but
stop
he kind of, I mean,
Let me go
Eli, you can't, there's
Oh,
no
no,
debate. To me, there's no debate. Eli Manning was way better than Phil Simms. Way better. That's, again, my opinion.
The
Just wondering.
Bears, have they even
Jim
had a good
McMahon.
quarterback? No.
You won a Super Bowl,
Stop.
85. Do the Super Bowl shuffle. Like, that's Jim McMahon, 100%. Rex Grossman went to a Super Bowl. I don't know. The Bears is rough. Jay Fiedler? Listen to me. Jay Cutler. Jay Fiedler played
Jay
for
Cutler
every team.
owns every Bears record. He's probably
is Jay Cutler
Jay Cutler probably is the best Bears quarterback ever.
Interesting. Pittsburgh? Is it Ben or is it Bradshaw?
Ben. Not even close either. That's not even a debate. I don't know. Ken, maybe you could chime in here, but I think Big Ben blows Terry Bradshaw out of the water in terms
Stats
of
wise, yeah. But accolades, maybe
quarterback
not.
playing acumen. Accolades is team. I mean,
That's
no.
true.
Accolades,
true.
even Big Ben, I would say over Bradshaw. Like, its team accomplishments go to Bradshaw, no doubt. But Big Ben does have 2. It's not like he didn't win.
No, but Bradshaw's got like 4. So, or whatever the case. He won all those Super Bowls in the 70s. Bills. That's the clear. Well, here's the thing,
No,
Jimmy.
stop.
But-
Jim Kelly's a Hall of Famer. He made 4.
Correct.
Super
But I'm
Bowls in a row.
saying in 5-10 years, people are gonna bring up Josh Allen.
Yeah, because the recency bias is real. But Josh Allen has a long way to go and he has to put up a lot of numbers for a really long time.
Redskins, I would say Doug Williams. Right? I mean, or the Commanders. Sorry for all you politically correct out there. I would say Doug Williams went to a Super Bowl, won a Super Bowl.
Kirk Cousins,
Mark Rippon.
Mark Rippon.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Cousins. Jesus Christ, no. Speaking of Cousins, what about the Vikings? Oh, you already said Fran? No.
Yeah, it's Fran Tarkenton.
What about Culpepper?
No.
No debate on Culpepper?
Nope.
Not
Flash in
even a
the
little
pan.
debate?
If you want to have like Culpepper's like Bo Jackson,
I mean,
where he was really good for a little bit, put up numbers, but didn't last.
Jimmy's so old at this point where he's like, Josh Allen with 18 question marks. Josh Allen's the best quarterback in football right now, dude. So there's no.
I don't believe that. For a
What,
second.
are you just going to go Homer on that one and go Rodgers? I say Rodgers is the best thrower of the football, but overall, he can't run like Josh Allen at all.
Josh Allen, how many MVPs does he have? How many playoff wins does he have? He doesn't have any. He hasn't done anything either. So we got to.
I'm telling pound for pound, like pound for pound thrower and runner and overall quarterback. Josh Allen's
who's
better.
the younger guy is what you're saying.
No,
So it's
no. No, because Rodgers was never a scrambler. He can run. He can scamper. He's a good scamperer.
Josh Allen's great. I'm not diminishing Josh Allen, but he's not a better quarterback than Rodgers.
I'll just leave it at that. Anybody else thinking about it? Ravens don't have that long of a lineage, but I would assume Joe Flacco.
Yeah.
Flacco over Lamar
Flacco made the playoffs every year for
and
like
went to a Super
decade.
Bowl.
And Lamar
and
is
won a
still
Super
young.
Bowl.
It's like he's got 3
Yeah.
years in all time. We got guys that have played 15 years there on this. You have to have at least 8 years service time. There can't be any active quarterback that's on his rookie
Florida
deal.
Mike coming out of nowhere. How many MVPs rings does Rodgers have since Josh Allen
Look,
came into the league?
I do not do football debates with Hawaii Mike because he's a former Lions fan. That doesn't count.
I'm sorry, former Lions
Well,
fan?
I get it. He likes all those. He likes Michigan. He's a
Detroit guy.
He's a Detroit guy. So
Must love 8 Mile.
now he's like just a Stafford homer, and
And anyway,
he takes every opportunity. So his hatred for Rodgers and the Packers stayed, but he doesn't even like his own team anymore.
Tim
So
Riley
he,
giving some love
he
to
tapped out on any debate with me when it comes to the Packers
Trent,
because he trolls.
Tim Riley's giving Trent Dilfer some love with Baltimore.
No.
I
And
don't
also Hawaii Mike, based on what are you saying? Because
think. Florida Mike now, by the way.
I didn't read any of the comments. Maui Mike, it's not gonna be either because he's coming at my neck on this one.
It's gonna be dead. Mike.
Like, so what has Josh Allen done? Like if you're gonna sit here and diminish the Rodgers accomplishments because he does have MVPs, Josh Allen doesn't.
Is there
We're
any
gonna get
more?
off this debate. Let's not.
Oh,
Let's
no?
not do this.
I like
No, because
this
I like
stuff,
Josh
man.
Allen. But
I'm not saying you're shitting
sitting
on
here,
Josh
I'm
Allen.
not sitting here and trying to go fucking balls to the wall on how good Rodgers is. He's won multiple MVPs. He's the highest paid quarterback outside of Deshaun Watson. So we'll just move on.
He makes more money than Mahomes yet? Yes.
Rodgers just signed.
Oh, yeah, that's the new thing. Sorry, completely forgot. It's crazy. It's crazy that we don't have to talk about like Willie won't he with Rodgers this year. Like, there's no debate. Rodgers will be at camp and he'll just go see what he can do with these new receivers. Oh, man. Chris and Dave never mock out homers, packing boys. I'll be the first one to tell you when there's bad players on the Cowboys. I don't have a hard time with that at all. All right, anyway, I got to ask you guys before we get into the Indianapolis Colts, are you guys worried about if you're going to run out of money in retirement? I know Jimmy is. Or how you'll pay for a long-term health care. Will your family be okay? Stop worrying. Start planning. It is the Fusco Insurance Agency. As president of the insurance agency, Michael can work with you to create a comprehensive retirement plan. He'll explore using life insurance and annuities to help you build a more secure future so you can worry a little bit less now. Call 718-701-5787 to schedule your complimentary consultation. That's 718-701-5787. Guarantees and protections are subject to the claims paying ability of the issuing company. Some insurance policies are not available in all states. I'm going to be saying that in my sleep eventually. And then, of course, he also now offers customer financing with the prestigetaxfinancing.com/business financing. Michael Fusco got it all. 540 FICO score. If you got above that, good for you because you've not put yourself in $1 million of debt. But check out FuscoInsuranceAgency.com for that. And I also want to give a special shout to Dat Chat, social media platform, NFTs, blockchain, a whole social media thing where you can like post something and then make it explode and nobody will ever be able to screenshot it. It's amazing. It's fantastic. I've seen it. I've worked with it. It's awesome. And of course, coming soon to a theater near you is Hater Fantasy Sports as we gear up for football season. But speaking of football season, Gooch has something that has nothing to do with football, and that's Manscaped.
Yes. So head on over to manscaped.com. Use the promo code CHOPSPORTS to get your balls nice and clean. All right. So they got the Performance Package 4.0, all the 4.0s. We got the Lawnmower 4.0, and it has a 400K LED trimmer or light and a porcelain blade on the trimmer, guaranteed to reduce the risk of nicks and cuts, and nobody wants to cut your nutsack. So that's a good thing.
No.
They also have the Lawnmower 2.0. It's an ear and nose hair trimmer. You have all the exfoliators and the rubs and the creams to go on any or every part of your body. It doesn't matter where. And the Lawnmower 4.0 is also waterproof, so you can shave your ass, your face, and your balls, and it's all clean. No big deal. So head on over to Manscaped, use the promo code CHOPSPORTS, and you get 20% off. Free t-shirt, free boxers,
Free t-shirt with flyer. Bag. Name that movie. I'll give you $1. Free t-shirt with flyer. Can anybody? No? Damn. Euro trip? Nobody. The Euro.
Yeah,
Oh, this is a good
it.
movie. I don't remember the a lot of the
dialogue.
Yeah.
No?
No, he didn't read the script. Or watch it 49 fucking times a week.
Hold on. Now, as I'm doing something here real quick.
Over under 50 times you've seen Euro Trip.
Under. I think under would be the main thing there. I think, yeah. No, it's definitely a great movie. Fantastic movie. No cast whatsoever. Like zero cast. There's nobody in that movie that I'm just like,
Matt Damon.
oh, yeah, I know him.
Oh,
Matt Damon's in
Matt
it.
Damon?
Yeah, Scotty doesn't know. He plays the band singer
That's
guy.
the only-
Yeah, no, that's
All right, so what are we working on over there?
we're working on getting the Colts graphic into the lineup, which disappeared when the internet kicked out. So I'm going to do that real quick. That's why I'm trying to buy some time here. So getting involved is Dave Sturchio on the fly, ladies and gentlemen. So here we go. Add overlay.
You don't
This
see
is
the Texans one.
it's gone. Yeah, no, it's gone. It gone. I guess gotta move this
All
over.
right, so
Gooch,
Indianapolis
help me out.
Colts.
Start
Yeah.
with the Colts, and I'll get this thing over there.
So I have some interesting stuff on the Colts that I'll just get into right out of the gate. Obviously, the Colts missed the playoffs last year because they shit the bed. Was it against Jacksonville?
It absolutely was.
It was
Carson
against
Wentz, who
Jacksonville.
was given a vote from a
Carson
fan
Wentz-
of best Eagles
Carson
quarterback of all
Wentz
time.
just couldn't get it done when they needed to get it done most, and that led to them moving on from the Carson Wentz debacle. Good head coach situation, great offensive line, good offense. They didn't really lose many players that I think are pivotal to their success, and they retained a lot of guys, but they did miss the playoffs last year because of a bad loss to the Jaguars. I'm thinking that the Colts are one of these teams that are going to bounce back in a big way this year.
Yeah.
Matt Ryan is a much better, much safer quarterback that you're going to have in big moments. Although he's been known to shit the bed in big spots, I don't think it was more or less he's never had the offensive line that he's going to have now and the running game that he's had now. He's always had the passing attack, but this is a different version of a Matt Ryan led offense.
So here's the story of the Indianapolis Colts. The over under, I believe, I don't know if you said it already. I was kind of
I
doing
did
my
not. I
thing.
kinda just
9.5. So
on
9.5
the
is the
fly.
number for the Colts. Last year went 9-8. So they're thinking, which is why I kind of
it's up to 10 now, I think.
is it
In real time, yeah.
Okay,
it's-
because
people
all
are
right.
slapping the over.
slapping the over at 10 now. So you
At
have to have
9.5
11.
Well, I mean, it went up to 10, so if
Now
it
you
was
have to-
9.5.
Oof, all right, so we'll go over it, but key losses for the Indianapolis Colts over the offseason was obviously Carson Wentz, which I think is actually a gain. A key gain is not having Carson Wentz on your roster anymore.
Addition by subtraction.
Exactly. Zach Pascal moves on, goes to the Eagles. They lose Marlon Mack. We talked about the Mack attack over the Texans, headlining the Texans running game this year. They traded Rocky Sin last year in that one trade, so they lost him. Their gains in that trade, they got Ngakoue in that passing defense. We'll get into that in a second. Matt Ryan, you were talking about already. He's in. They do replace Marlon Mack with a Phillip Lindsay. I think that kind of works. You know, he's actually going to be the third guy behind Naheem Hines and stuff like that.
Well,
So
Naheem Hines isn't really going to be. I think that
he's a complete
what
supplemental
happens
back.
in this situation is if Jonathan Taylor goes down, Phillip Lindsay is the ad because he's gonna take over the Jonathan Taylor role. And Naheem Hines is going to always be in his role, which is a third down back catching the passes out of the backfield.
Right. And they did not have a first round pick this year. They weren't able to enjoy that. But however, second round, a lot of people saying a lot of good things about Alec Pierce, wide receiver
talk about him in a little
of
bit.
Cincy. He comes over there. They actually drafted a tight end in the third round. So they're trying to give some more weapons to Matty Ice as they go into the season. We had a comment come in from Jim Eagle. Colts play in the AFC West or play the AFC West. They're going to finish 7-10. He says poor secondary, poor wide receiver core, and no left tackle will doom them. We'll get into all that because I kind of beg differ on that one.
I feel like the AFC West might be a tad overrated.
I don't think that at all. I think that they have to play each other is what I'm thinking. We're going to get into the AFC West in a couple weeks, but like those guys all have to beat each other up. So that's why it's very hard to
Denver
overrate
against
them.
Indy is like a great matchup across the board. I don't see how you could look at the things that the Colts are bringing to the table defensively and with the running game that they have.
So
and say that they're going to win.
Obviously, quarterback led by Matt Ryan. I think 1,000% an upgrade over Carson Wentz. And just so you know, so everybody's aware, there is a guy in the locker room, in the quarterback room, that will be sticking his little neck out and just saying, hey, do you need me? Do you need me? Is Nick Foles. So just be careful of all that. He rejoins Frank Reich, which, by the way, if you all remember, nobody likes to remember this, but Philly was a Frank Reich call with Nick Foles. They have a little connection there. Running back room, I think it's stacked. I think it's Jonathan Taylor, who already in year, what is this, 3 for him or 2? Was he a rookie last year? No,
year 3.
Year 3 for Jonathan Taylor. He's already, in my mind, best running back pound for pound in the league right now. He's backed up by Hines and Lindsey, so I think that's a nice little running back room. The receivers, in which you guys mentioned before, I think it's a little better than what you're like. I think Michael Pittman Jr. is amazing. And then you're adding Pierce.
I think Michael Pittman Jr. is really good. He has his downfalls, but it's the same. I think he's like a Mike Evans light, where he's a bigger guy. He's a big target, but he's not going to burn people deep downfield. But he's a sure-handed person. And in the red zone, he's going to get a lot of targets. Alec Pierce, though, the White Wide Receivers of America Association,
which there is a club.
represent, baby. Alec Pierce.
So
look,
stupid.
if there's a one guy offensively, because there is no quarterback this year that I think is going to take the reins and win the Offensive Rookie of the Year. If there's going to be a guy that I would take a flyer on gambling, it would be Alec Pierce, because he's one of the rookies that he's in a really good situation, playing probably slotted to be starting week 1 as the number 2 wide receiver for the Colts.
When you're
in an offense that really you're going to be focusing a lot on stopping the run. And Matt Ryan, look at the number 2 receivers in Matt Ryan's tenure across his career.
Well, that's what I was going to say.
Really good,
when a rookie receiver comes into the league and your first quarterback could be a la Matt Ryan, could be a la Aaron Rodgers, those guys are going to freaking eat, man. They're going to eat. They're going to get a lot of balls thrown their way. And I think Matt Ryan is a very, very good leader. And not a lot of people, there's no Matt Ryan hater club here. I love Matt Ryan. I think he's a fantastic quarterback. Obviously, he's on the wrong side of his age and he's getting a little older, but you give him a decent offensive line. And somebody mentioned before their left tackle. Yeah, it's a little different, but they still have the best guard in football and they still have a really good offensive line. I think their offensive line is good. Yes, left tackle kind of took a little bit of a step back, but I think that this team is primed and ready right now to at least win this division. We'll go over the schedule in a second, but before I do that, the defense and the secondary, which was mentioned before, as being not good. The defensive secondary, you all know football. Everybody knows football that are watching this show right now. The secondary gets better with a good pass rush. And when you have guys like Kwity Paye, Ngakoue, and DeForest Buckner on the defensive line, those corners aren't going to have to cover that long.
Yeah, but you're sitting here, not you per se, and they're just in terms of talking bad about their secondary, but we hear about the Raiders, about how good they're going to be. Could you name a guy in their secondary right now?
Yeah, Rock Ya-Sin, who they traded away. But yeah, you're right.
But he was a liability last year. He's a good hitter. He's not a great cover guy.
Just because his name's Rock? Is that what you're just assuming?
He's also Temple alum. Shout out to Ashmere Fit. But yeah, look, there's a lot of teams that have holes, and I'm looking at the AFC West, and that's what I'm saying, where I think they might be a little bit worse, because I know the Raiders have a liability in their secondary. The Colts, I don't think that they necessarily have as big of a liability as the Raiders do, but I think their front seven is more proven. The Raiders did add Chandler Jones to the mix, which we're not talking about the Raiders. I don't know why I'm even going there right now, but the Colts, their defense is proven. They turned the ball over so much last year. They forced the most fumbles in football.
Oh, I thought they turned the ball over. You mean they got the ball on a turnover?
They forced the most turnovers.
Leonard's a punch-out machine.
I don't know if they forced the most, but they forced the most fumbles. That's for goddamn sure. It was like 1.5 a game.
Leonard is one of the better linebackers, if not the best linebacker in football. You have a fantastic D-line. The offense is going to score some points. Jonathan Taylor is one of the best running backs in football, if not the best. They got Stephon Gilmore over there. It ain't that bad. That ain't that bad. You know what I mean? Like the secondary, like Gilmore is now a journeyman. I guess
a step a little bit.
He did. But like when you're not,
but 2 years ago he was the best corner in football.
That's what I'm saying. So you can't fall that far from grace. So let's look at the schedule. Let's break it down. Right. So they start the year with a win. Right. They're gonna beat the Texans. They're gonna beat the brakes off the Texans in week 1. Then they go at Jacksonville. And I know they have a little bit of a bugaboo when it comes to Jacksonville games.
They're going to catch a hot flaming L in Jacksonville.
They can't win in Jacksonville. I don't know why. It is what it is, right? Like, so that's just sorry to say. Yeah, so they're Jim Eagle coming in with that comment because they're saying that, they can't win in Jacksonville. It's just a thing. I don't know. Is it the hot weather, sticky humidity? I don't know. It doesn't matter. They can't win. So 1-1. Then they go back home to play Kansas City, in which I think is a fantastic matchup because Kansas City's defense is not all that as good as they used to be in the secondary. Matt Ryan might have a nice day. That's a home game, so we'll see.
We'll find out a lot about both teams in this matchup.
Yes, absolutely. Then they got the Titans at home, right? Then they go at Denver, home against the Jaguars. There's your revenge game. You're going to get that win. You're going to split with Jacksonville, no doubt about it. You're also going to sweep the Texans. So that's right away, 3 wins right off the rip. What they do with the Titans, I say probably split with the Titans, giving them a 4th win there. So now you got to find the wins outside the division, right? You got the Commanders on your schedule. That's a dub. The Commanders, to me, are not going to be very good at football. I had, for God's sakes, Chris Canty, my guy, a former Cowboy, won a Super Bowl with the Giants. All of a sudden, he forgets about the Cowboys, but now he's thinking the Commanders going to win the division over there. So I don't know where he gets off thinking that. Like, we saw, like, Carson Wentz ruined the Colts last year. So what makes you think he's going to, make the Commanders better? He's not a good quarterback, and I'm tired of that narrative. It's so dumb.
Commanders is a win.
Commanders is a win after all that. Before I go nuts on that one. And they'll probably win back-to-back games because they go at New England. I think New England, when we talk about them next week, New England's going to be a very piss-poor team.
New England at home, bro. That
I don't
defense
give a
is going to
shit.
be
Dude,
really good at home this year.
Doesn't matter to me. Doesn't matter to me. When your offensive coordinator is your former defensive coordinator, something's wrong. Something's broken in New England. Okay, it's over. That ship has sailed. Mac Jones is in
they have
for
this
it.
Young new offensive coordinator that's really good, and they're just not telling anybody.
I'm sure that's the Belichick way, right?
And there's some kid
all of a sudden, some kid's got a headset on. You're like, who's that? Like, oh, he's the boy genius.
That's his 17-year-old son. He's also on cocaine, or is it meth?
Whatever. Either way. Then they got to go to Vegas. Tough matchup, right? I get it. But then they got 2 back-to-back games at home, Philly and Pittsburgh. And when I look at the Colts and I look at the way they match up with Philly's going to be better this year. I'm not going to sit here and be the Homer Cowboys fan and say, like, Philly's going to lose every game. I think Philly will be good this year. I just think Matt Ryan is going to teach a couple of these young bucks a thing or two. I really do. They're going to beat.
Dave's got the Colts going 15-2.
I don't. I actually, believe it or not, I have them losing a couple games, like at Dallas. So that's one. But I got them. Look, on the road against the Giants. I think the Colts take that one, right? But it's in December, so it's going to be cold. The Texans, again, I told you they're going to win. So overall, 17-game schedule, believe it or not, after all the good I just talked, I have them at 9. Okay, I have 9 wins. Now, give me a steal on the...
I did not hear you name 8 losses.
I'll tell you the losses, all right? At Jacksonville, Kansas City, they'll lose that game. At Denver, I think they might lose that game. Okay, just because I don't know why. Denver might be a little better than we think.
There's no reason why you should know why. It's just like based on what you think rosters are now, because there's so many factors that are going to go into the season.
At the Titans, I said they split, right? So there's 4 losses right there. At Vegas, I think that's a loss. At Dallas, I think that's a loss. At Minnesota's pesky when it comes to going at home with Kirk Cousins. I don't know what time the game is, but that could be a loss, right? And then they got to go play the Chargers. That's a loss. So they're like, I might eat all my words. That's fine. I'm cool with it. The Colts are going to be good. The Colts are going to be very good. And I think the Colts can win this division. We'll talk about the Titans tomorrow. What?
I like the Colts at 11 wins this year.
11-6. And I think somebody came in
fairly easily.
I think somebody came in.
Are going to be a lot worse offensively, big time worse offensively. Losing AJ Brown is going to crush them. And Derrick Henry, got to see if he's healthy.
But I'm saying, like, there was somebody, I forget the comment. It came in here. It says somebody said something about Phillip Rivers winning 11 games. So Phillip Rivers, who can't, he's just doing the sidearm shuffle. If he's winning 11 games, then Matt Ryan won that. There it is. The Colts got 11 wins with Phillip Rivers and 1 less game. Easy 11 wins with Matt Ryan.
Yeah, I mean, that was the thought process.
I agree with that
going into the season with Wentz too, and they didn't. But they had every opportunity to. There was a couple bad losses there where they were beaten up on Baltimore and they came back on.
Carson Wentz was an abomination.
And then the Jacksonville game where they shit the bed.
They could have made the playoffs.
I mean, I look more towards the Baltimore game early in the year, and they had an 18-point lead mid fourth quarter, and they blew that one.
That was a rough.
So
one.
The Colts could have, they were right there. They're a really good team. They're well coached. And I think there's a bad taste in their mouth from last year, and they're set out to prove a lot of people wrong.
To me, in the NFL, I always am a firm believer that even though it's a passing league and everybody likes to throw the rock down the field and it's just aerial assault and everybody's the hard-ons for the passing game, not enough stock is put into the fact that Jonathan Taylor is that goddamn good. And I think that if they run the football and dictate the pace of the game, Matt Ryan's going to find Pittman a lot. Matt Ryan's going to find Pierce a lot and feed that rookie. Matt Ryan's going to find Mo Alley Cox. Yeah, one of the better tight end. He's
red zone.
He's red zone threat.
6'12".
I like Mo Alley Cox. But again, I think the Colts could be very good. And we'll preview the Titans tomorrow. But I think the Colts have a good chance without Carson Wentz, with that plague of a quarterback. I think they can win this division.
All right, so let's speak of their chances because I got all their odds for everything right here.
Go for it.
All right,
hit me with it.
So I'm going to go from bottom up. All right, so over under 10 wins. It's set at 10, or I see 9.5 here, but I saw later on in the book it was 10. So at 9.5, it was minus 135 to go over. So they think that it's going to go over 9.5, right? So 10
give them the
10 is the realistic,
right? That would already make them better than last year.
And then under is just the even vig at plus 110. Actually, it's not even. It's plus money.
It's plus money.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if it was minus 110, it would be the big.
But that goes to show you that they don't buy that either with the plus money. You know what I'm saying? That they don't buy that. That's why they're giving you plus money, because they feel like it's going to hit the over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why it's minus.
That's why.
Yeah.
That's betting, Susan.
Yay, Dave figured it all out.
Figuring this all out one day at a time.
All right. So to win their division, it's plus 100, basically even money. I think that's the least value here. Make the playoffs. The Colts, just to make the playoffs, minus 160 to make it, plus 155 to not. Actually, it's minus 190. I'm sorry.
That's heavy favorite to make the
To make the
playoffs.
playoffs.
And remember, 7 teams. You're telling me the
Yeah,
Colts
so
aren't a
the
top
wild card-
7 team in the league? Like, come on. Or at least AFC.
Really, I like everything that I've talked about so far, winning the division, over 10 wins, and the playoffs. I think I'll take the over on all those. And here's where we start getting into some scary territory. To win the AFC, the Colts are plus 2,000. They're not beating the Chiefs. Maybe they beat the
AFC.
Chiefs.
I was about to say that's
I don't
really
think that they're
hard.
going to get through the Bills, the Chiefs, the whatever other team from the AFC West decides to be good, the Bengals, if they are able to withstand what they did last year. And then the Super Bowl odds are plus 2,500 to win it all.
Where does that rank them? Do you know? Like when
Ninth.
Ninth Super Bowl. Okay.
So I do have some other things here. Plus 450 to sweep their division. I think it's a fairly easy division.
I wouldn't say easy, but I think again they can't even win in Jacksonville, so that's like a thing.
Well, that's what I'm
It's
saying.
like a foregone conclusion that they lose that game.
They might be like, just to win in Jacksonville, they might be plus 450. No, they won't be.
No,
I'm
not
kidding.
at
They'll
all.
be favored. Minus
Uh,
450.
Favorite
That
on the
was a
road
joke.
without question.
But I didn't even mean it for be a joke. I just did the math wrong in my head for a second. So to start the season 0-4 plus 2,200. To start the season 4-0 plus 375.
You got some
Jonathan
deep dives
Taylor.
over there.
Jonathan Taylor to lead the league in rushing touchdowns, which I think is pretty solid chance that happens.
Yeah.
What do you think? The
Him or
odds are?
Henry, probably.
I mean, it's higher odds because you're dealing with the entire field here, but plus 550
to lead the
to
league
lead
in
the
rushing touchdowns.
So you throw $50 on it.
That's
you
not a
know.
bad odds at all, man.
And
That's
then
not bad odds at all.
plus 900, and he's the league leader, the favorite to win Offensive Player of the Year at plus 900. So there's not
I mean,
really.
he was
much
in the
value.
conversation for MVP last year.
Not really.
He was.
He's
Because I
like-
know it's a quarterback award and everybody knows that, but like he was at one point. The Colts had Jonathan Taylor not done what he did last year, they're not winning 9 games. That's despite Carson Wentz.
No doubt about it. But
Hell no.
the running backs are having a really hard time winning MVP in this league.
Guys, if you're watching this video, please do us a solid. Like the video. Thanks. I just wanted to remind y'all.
There's been
Because
a
I know
couple.
there's a bunch of Colts fans in here that have found
I
us
think there's been
via
like
the,
I think there's
the
been like
algorithms.
like 5 or 6 2,000-yard rushers in the NFL's history. How many of them do you think have won MVP?
None of them, because I
Well,
know how that works. I know how the
I think
system
AP
works.
did win one, and Barry co-MVP with Favre.
Favre. But anyway,
But you got to
so
do a lot to win MVP if you're a running back, a fucking lot, and other guys have to do less.
I agree. But overall, I think the outlook for the Indianapolis Colts this year is very good. They will be better than they were last year. I think if you compare the two between Matt Ryan and Carson Wentz, I think Matt Ryan is at least, and I remember I have him at 9-10, right? But if you look at it from put it in a vacuum, as you say all the time, probably using this completely wrong. But if you look at it in a vacuum, like Matt Ryan is definitely 2 wins better than Carson Wentz. 2. So that puts him at 11 for me.
You're using it slightly wrong. I think everybody gets trying to go there.
Vacuum. I don't know what I'm saying. But
So
anyway.
in a vacuum means basically just take every other factor away. So it's like,
Oh, then no, I'm using
like
that
who's
wrong.
better? Who's better if you put Matt Ryan and Carson Wentz in a vacuum, and every other factor is gone.
Intangibles, quarterback play.
Yeah, every
In
other
a
factor is
vacuum, Matt
gone.
Ryan is better.
Matt Ryan's better. So
100%.
points still proven.
Okay. See, I was
Yes.
I was on the right. I was in the right direction. But anyway, if you're new to this show, we go live every day at 11 o'clock. We talk sports. We are in the midst of our 32 team coverage. If you're brand new, I am a heavy diehard Cowboys fan, as he is a Green Bay Packers guy. So like, look, we do have sports, and we do talk rationally about everything. Like yesterday was the hardest show that we've done in the preview because the Texans are god awful, and it was hard to even like boost them a little bit. We were trying to find some reason to watch the Texans. And I guess if you want to watch them at all, just watch Lovie Smith's beard grow over the year. I don't know. There's nothing to do with the Texans, but this team is exciting. The Jaguars will be exciting this year. And tomorrow's team, the Titans, what are they going to do? Like right off the rip, if I had to like sneak preview, they're going to be a little bit tougher of a situation considering their wide receiver group and who they lost over the offseason. And
The only thing that they really have, not the only thing, but we'll talk about it tomorrow. Mike Vrabel is a really good coach.
he
That's
is.
it.
And you have to take that accountability because Frank Reich is a great coach. I love Frank Reich. And unfortunately, and I know you hate the hard knock stuff. I know you don't like it. But when they started the Colts thing mid-season last year, I was watching it. And I loved everything that I saw to that
probably
team.
much better than the fucking preseason.
I mean, last year it was the Cowboys.
Hard
So you
Knocks
hated
is
it.
falling off a cliff. And no, I didn't hate it because
this
I
year's the
didn't hate it
Lions,
because
bro.
of the Cowboys. I don't mind that. I don't mind. Like I said, I don't hate anything because of anything. It was poorly done. Like that was cringe. A lot of it was cringe. And Mike McCarthy's a fucking dork.
So you're telling me you don't like the mojo moment?
Mojo moment.
You sit there and tell me you didn't like the mojo moment,
Bro.
Anyway, that's the Colts.
Cringe.
that's the Colts in a vacuum. See, I did that wrong again. I think they're going to be very good. I like the Colts. I like Matt Ryan. I like their coaching staff. I love their defensive line. There's a lot to like. I love one of my favorite players in the league, not a Cowboy and not like a skill position, would have to be Quentin Nelson. He's one of my favorite guys to watch play. I've watched him. Like when you study film like I do, and I watch a lot of football. When I watch him bully people, it is so exciting. And when they had him mic'd up that one game, there was, I think, one game a couple years ago where he was just screaming the entire time he had him. He was like, ah! Right, the whole time he has him by the, and I'm like,
I wonder if
Jesus
he was
Christ.
doing it because he was mic'd up.
Even if,
Then
I would.
That was my point about
if I knew I was
players.
mic'd up, you're going to get some gems. I'm mic'd up every day from 11 to 12, every day, right here.
I feel
on
like if
YouTube.
you're mic'd up, you try and put on, and that makes me not like you. Like if
Nah,
there's
see,
a
Quentin
player
Nelson's that
that's
dude,
like
bro.
act the way you normally act, or don't be mic'd up. If you're acting a little different, then you're putting on for the mic.
Real
and you're
time
a
chill
dork.
videos, by the way. Subscribe to the channel. We'll subscribe to you as well, pal. Hines will get the Debo role, he thinks. And it's funny you should say that because we did bring this up while we were talking about Debo a couple weeks back about how he might reset the market. I think going forward in the NFL, everybody needs a Debo. Everybody needs that. Everybody needs the guy to come out of the backfield, go in the slot, go on the outside, return kicks, all this shit. They need somebody like that. And I think Hines is definitely underused as of last year, maybe because of the crowded backfield. But now that it's not as crowded, well, it's almost same as crowded because they do still have Phillip Lindsay. But again, Lindsay he bounced around from team to team last year, and I don't know if he's going to make the roster. But overall, again, Colts are going to be fun. They're going to be fun. So if you watch this for the Colts content, it's not a Colts show by any stretch. Today is. So like the video, subscribe to the channel. We appreciate you.
I got to drain the main vein. You
Oh,
know what
okay.
I'm saying?
All right. Well, on that note, Gooch has to go pee-pee, and he's going to go do that. So what you guys can do is, like I said before, like the video, subscribe, share this, tell your friends. We do this every day, 11 o'clock. Start time, and big things happening over at Shop Sports. I did a little teaser yesterday. I know people are like, oh, did they get signed by the Panthers? No, they did not, but there's a really cool color scheme coming your way. It's going to be a lot of fun. So that's it. That's a show for Sturch and Gooch. Nick behind the glass, which, by the way, we'll talk after, but there's a way to communicate with me without the text. Okay. So he's like, check your phone. And I was like, oh, okay. But good call, because if not, I would have been sitting there like, pull up the Colts.
Yeah.
Pull up the Colts. Like, there's no fucking Colts. What's wrong?
Yeah, I'll talk to you after.
Okay. And for Madison, who's also in the building, look for a brand new on this day over at the Chop Sports Instagram. Follow us at Chop Sports Media on all platforms. I'd say visit the website, but that's in a complete construction mode, so don't visit the website right now. But yeah, that's it. Have a good day, and we'll see you tomorrow with the Titans.